called Freckleton. She's here she works for the government of Alberta as well. Nicole started school when she was 25 years old, and she had to struggle to finish school. And she, you know, if some of us have been to school, we know how expensive it is. She finished school with debt of $80,000, and she managed to pay that off in 3 years. Yeah. So she's going to tell us how she did it, and she's going to give us some financial advice on how to go to school in a smart way and finish school without having a debt.
Yeah. So yes, I finished school with $80,000 worth of debt. Before I went to school, I had $35,000 because I was 25 years old. I was living on my own, you know, had a new car, had credit card debt. I had 25, I was working in a group home, and I just thought, you know, this cannot be my life. I need to do something more for myself, so I decided to go to school. But I was very unprepared when I went to school because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I kind of just went in hoping for the best. I thought I wanted to be a teacher, but then realized I didn't like kids. So how was I going to teach? And then tried to get into social work, couldn't get into that program, and I ended up in sociology, and it worked out really well for me. But when I left school with $80,000 of debt, I thought, you know, I don't want to be a slave to the government and to the bank, so I need to find a way to pay this off because nobody's going to pay it off for me. I have to do it myself. So I educated myself in personal finance, you know, read books, listened to podcasts, and realized that money is what's going to make me pay off my debt. So I started working 3 jobs in 2010, and then in June of last year I became debt-free. And thank you. It's a great feeling because now I work for myself. Yes. I go to work and my paychecks are for me. I'm working for a purpose and not a payment. So if I had to do it all over again, I would pay for my education because we live in a society where we are brainwashed to believe the only way to obtain higher education is to get a student loan. Yeah. The average student in Canada graduates with $30,000 of debt. I actually think it's higher when you factor in transportation, food, housing, books, and everything that comes with being a student. Canada, we as a country have $15 billion in student loan debt. We're actually doing way better than the States, who has nearly $1 trillion in outstanding student loan debt. And I just think if there was not any student loans, how would we go to school? We would have to work and save to get our education. And that's kind of what my mission is, to try and convince people, take it slow, plan it out, and pay as you go. Education will always be there. There's no rush. And it's just, you know, you want to be able to graduate and not have that burden of student loans on your head when you're done. The reason why I try to convince people not to get a student loan is because there's a lot of risks that come with student loans. What happens if you start school and something happens and you don't finish the program? You leave school, you have no degree, and you're left with a loan. Or what if you do finish school and the program that you take is not marketable? You're in a low-paying job and you can't make your student loan payments every month, and the government is on you because they want their money. Getting a student loan also delays big life decisions when you graduate. It delays you having children, it delays getting married, it delays travel, it delays buying a house, it delays buying a car because now you have that big debt that requires your money instead of other things that you want to do. So going back to school requires a lot of thought and planning, and if you have to use debt to pay for your education, I personally believe that you're not ready to go to school. So how do you know if you're ready to go back to school? And some of this is going to be duplicate from what Lala and her partner were talking about, but I'll go through it really quickly. You have to think about whether your degree will actually open up career opportunities for you. You need to get a degree or a skill set that's marketable. Consider whether your degree is going to bring back a financial return in the long run. Getting a general arts degree is probably going to cost you $40,000, and there's not a lot of return on that, and there's not a lot of jobs in that area. Go to college, university, only if you believe that it's going to improve your quality of life. You have to make smart financial decisions before you go to school, and the one thing that I really emphasize on is that if you have debt now, pay it off before you decide to go back to school. Because then you'll be like me, you'll have $35,000 of existing debt, you'll throw on another $55,000, and then you'll have $80,000, $90,000. So any existing debt that you have now, make the commitment, make the effort to pay it off before you think about going to school. Determine what your school budget's going to be. Don't forget books, housing, food, transportation, all of that is necessities. So before you go back, add it all up and see what it's going to cost you. You'll be surprised at how much it's going to cost. Bring in your own money. There's scholarships, there's bursaries. You may have your parents, you may have money coming from other sources, but you decided to go to school, so you need to pay for your education. So if you need to work and save before doing so, make sure that you have some money to put into your education. Think about what you have to give up to go back to school. You might have to give up hobbies. Your spouse or girlfriend or whoever is in your family may have to help with the cooking and the cleaning. You might not be able to attend your kids' soccer games, but it's all for a short period of time. Short-term pain for long-term gain. Your family will support you, they'll always be there, but make sure you speak to them and let them know what you want to do. And another thing is, does going back to school match your long-term money goals? Is there other things that you would be wanting to do with your money right now before you go to school? Do you have other debt you want to pay off? Do you want to pay off your mortgage? Those are other things that may be more important for you right now, so you have to look at what your long-term money goals are and prioritize where that's going. So, and you just have to make sure that getting a degree makes sense for your situation. You might learn that you have opportunities if you just take a couple classes. Education is important, but you have to take into consideration other things like your attitude, diligence, people skills, your on-job experience. That, in conjunction with a degree, makes you a marketable person when it comes to looking for employment. So my 5 ways to get an education without debt, like I said, pay off your existing debt. Start with a clean slate. Don't add on to what you already have or it's going to be a nightmare. Determine your school budget. Apply for scholarships. Maybe your employer will help with your education. Live below your means when you're a student, so no shopping, no eating out, no outrageous spending. Don't go buy that new car. Spend like you're a student. Spend like somebody who does not have a lot of money coming in. And think beyond college. You have to make a lot of sacrifice when you're going to college, but if you do it in a way where you can do it debt-free, the world is your oyster once you're done. You will have a lot of opportunity and you will just feel much better to be able to pursue the life that you're looking for. You will have more freedom, you will have more choices, and you will be ahead of the game. Because imagine if you have no debt and you're going and looking for a job. Most people who have debt, when they go and look for a job after they graduate, they have to take the first thing that comes their way. They don't have that opportunity to shop around and negotiate. If you're somebody who has no debt, you don't really like what this person is offering, you can step back, apply for something else, and get the job that you're meant to be in. So, go to school debt free. I have a list here of different websites that I researched that have information on scholarships. So I have a handout here if you'd like to see it, and I have my contact information if anybody needs any help setting up a budget or just has any questions in terms of their finance. I'd love to help.
She's been doing that for a while now, 2 years?
Yeah, a couple of years now.
Yeah. So if you, because it's not everybody who makes the same amount of money.
Right.
And we don't budget it the same way. So if you want to talk to her and see how you can set up your finances, and when it's not only for going to school, so if you want to see how you can get some things done and have your money still in your bank account or keep coming in, then that'll be the person to speak to. All right. Thank you so much, our panelists. It was a very great pleasure to have you with us. We're going to proceed with, I don't know if we have enough time for the questions, but does anybody have a question that is really burning that they really have to ask today? DJ?
All of our panelists here. Last lady who spoke, Nicole. The debt, was there any way for you to see a way of loan forgiveness, or is there any option like that right now if people are
No, loan forgiveness, and making an income before they forgive your loans. So loan forgiveness is like the last thing on the list because you have to prove to the government that you can't pay.
Make it back.
Yeah, as long as they see that you can even go out and work a minimum wage job, they would tell you work 6.
Mostly when you look into the statistic in Canada, they're saying immigrants, we are below 40% of people going to, after high school, after graduating high school, people who are going to post-secondary school. It doesn't matter college or university. So what we're trying to do as a group, this is the first stage, organizing this workshop, putting out there that we care about the education. So with the next stage, after the report setting, everyone, if everyone can send back what they want to hear, what we do.